Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about transforming your UX case studies from just, a collection of pretty pictures into a powerful tool that actually proves your value as a designer. All right, let's start with a feeling I bet a lot of you know way too well. You've poured hours, days, maybe even weeks into your portfolio. It's polished, it looks amazing, but the response you're getting is, well, it's kind of crickets. It just feels empty. And it's so easy to start blaming your UI skills, or maybe you think the projects you worked on just aren't flashy enough. But the real culprit? It's often something you can't see. It's the story you're telling, or more importantly, the story you're failing to tell. Okay, here's the first huge truth you've got to get your head around. Nobody, and I mean nobody, gets hired because of one beautiful screen. That's just not how this works. See, what they're really hiring is your brain. Your portfolio isn't supposed to be an art gallery. Think of it more like a piece of evidence in a courtroom. It's evidence that you can think critically, that you can handle tricky situations, and that you make smart, well-reasoned decisions. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to hit 5 key areas to completely reframe how you build your case studies. We'll look at why good portfolios fail, the huge difference between showing a process and showing decisions, then we'll walk through a new blueprint for success, how to use your screens as actual evidence, and finally, a litmus test to make sure your work is solid. All right, let's kick things off with section 1. Why do so many portfolios, even really good-looking ones that you've poured your heart into, just fail to land? Why do they never get that second look? You have to put yourself in their shoes. Recruiters and hiring managers are absolutely drowning in portfolios. They're not reading your case study like a novel, word for word. They are scanning. They're skimming headings, looking for those key signals that you are a mature thinker. If they don't spot that evidence of critical thought in the first, 30 seconds, they're gone. On to the next one. And no amount of beautiful UI is going to save a weak story. Now let's get to the biggest mistake of all. This is the trap that almost every junior designer falls into, and it's the #1 reason their thinking just doesn't shine through. Yeah, I bet this looks pretty familiar, right? The classic playbook, problem, research, wireframes, UI. We're all taught to present our work this way. And you know what? It's why so many portfolios look and feel exactly the same. But here's the kicker. It's totally flawed. I mean, really think about it. What's actually missing here? This structure, it shows what you did, but it completely fails to explain why you did it. It's just a laundry list of activities, not a compelling story about your decisions. The secret sauce, the thing that's missing, is what we'll call decision logic. It is the justification, the trade-offs, and the reasoning behind every single choice you made. This is what separates a junior portfolio from a senior one. It's the why behind the what. So, this is the core shift you have to make. Stop just listing process steps. Instead, start showing off your decision moments. Your case study shouldn't be a checklist. It should be a story about navigating tough problems and making smart choices. Okay, so how do we actually do that? Let's get into the blueprint, a new structure that's actually built to showcase your thinking and help you succeed. All right, part 1, you got to set the stage. And I mean with laser focus. Give just enough context so they know what you're talking about, and then immediately frame the problem. What was the real user struggle? What was the business risk if you failed? What constraints were you up against? Just look at the difference here. It's night and day, right? Improving the user experience. I mean, that's so vague, it's almost meaningless. But users hesitated because they feared irreversible mistakes? Wow, that's powerful. That immediately shows you understand user psychology, you get the concept of risk, and you're focused on the real stakes. Okay, next up in the thinking process, you have to show how your brain works. What were the big assumptions everyone was making that you decided to question? And how did you connect the dots from all that raw research data to a clear, actionable design insight? And this right here is the absolute heart of your case study. This is where the magic happens. Articulate your key decisions. For every major choice, explain the different paths you could have taken, and, this is crucial, the trade-offs you decided to make. A sentence like this one shows you're not just moving pixels around. It proves you're a strategic partner who gets that great design is all about making smart compromises. So, only after you've laid out all that incredible logic, then you bring in the screens. You've established the why, now it's time to show the what. And remember, your screens aren't just eye candy, they are evidence. They have to back up the story you just told. For every key screen, you need to state its job. What is its one main purpose? Justify your visual hierarchy. And show that you've thought through all the messy stuff, the error states, the empty states, all those edge cases. All right, let's bring it home with our last section, how to finish strong, and the one final test you absolutely need to run your case study through to prove your value. You want to finish strong, right? Show them you have a growth mindset. So define what success would actually look like. What metrics would you measure? And then be honest. Reflect on the process. What surprised you? What would you do differently if you had to do it all over again? This shows you're a learner, and that's incredibly valuable. And that brings us to the golden rule. This is the ultimate litmus test for your entire case study. Read it out loud, but cover up all the images. Does the story still make sense? Is it still compelling? If the answer is yes, then your thinking is rock solid. The visuals just become the confirmation, the cherry on top, not the entire sundae. So, at the end of the day, this is the one question you need to ask yourself as you look at your portfolio. Are you just showing your work, or are you using it to prove your thinking? Because focusing on proof, that's how you turn a portfolio into your next job offer.